Hey everybody, welcome back to my coverage of the PogChamps 3 tournament. This is the tiebreaker game, Neeko versus Rubius, the first match of the Consolation quarterfinals. If you missed the previous game, you can check it in the info card up there. Come back and watch this video. But yes, we are in the tiebreaker, which means both players will start with 5 minutes. Neeko did have the higher seed since she did win one of her games in the group match compared to Rubius's 0 wins in the group stage. So yeah, she will play white this game, and that's how it works. Both players will get 5 minutes, no extra time per move, so 5 minutes and that's it. If it's a draw, they switch sides and rematch, and they keep playing until there's a winner. So there's no Armageddon format here. If it's a draw, they simply rematch. But Neeko does have the white pieces here. She does have the lower blitz rating, but I think this rating is provisional. I think Neeko is a much stronger blitz player than 526. So I think this match could really go either way. I think Neeko definitely has the speed advantage, though. We've seen her play extremely fast in all of her games so far. So we'll see if that is a factor, and let's just get right into the chess. Neeko starts with knight to c3, not going for that bird's opening that she usually goes for, and we have e6 from Rubius. f4, and we've now transposed into a bird, and d5 from Rubius. e3, and now knight to f6, knight to f3, and knight to c6, d3 now, and bishop b4. Both fine, perfectly fine, not too bad setups from both players so far. We have bishop d2 now and castles, a3 now kicking that bishop, and bishop to a5, h3 now. Not exactly sure what this move does. Prevents the knight coming to g4, but I think it would have been better to simply develop this bishop and look to get castled. But we have h3. And now e5 from Rubius. And this isn't the best move because it simply hangs a pawn, which Neeko takes with f takes e5. Here, instead of saving the knight with a move like knight to h5, we have d4 from Rubius, counter-attacking this white knight. However, this fails simply to e takes d4, or sorry, not e takes f6, but e takes d4, and now white is simply up 2 pawns. I don't know why I played e takes f6. E takes d4 is the move, which is what Neeko played, and now Neeko is up 2 pawns. This knight is still attacked, and yeah. We have knight to d5 now and b4 from Neeko. Here, knight takes d5 definitely would have been better than b4. And after a sequence like bishop takes b2, queen takes d2, we could have queen takes d5, and material is even. I mean, white is still up the 2 pawns, but we've gone through a few traits. However, now white can get a huge center after c4. And after queen to d8, we could have something like d5, knight back to e7, and d4. And man, look at that center. This is the biggest center I've ever seen. So white could definitely gain a advantage like that instead of b4, but we have b4. We have bishop b6 now, and now it's time for white to play knight takes d5. And the thing is, after queen takes d5, we could have c4, and once the queen retreats to d8, for example, now there's c5 trapping the bishop. So Neeko definitely should have gone for this knight takes d5 move. Better for black here would have been to first trade this knight, and then c4 wouldn't come with tempo. You don't have time to take the bishop here because your queen is attacked. But we have bishop b6 from Rubius, and Neeko does not go for this knight trade first. Instead, she simply plays b5, which allows black to get right back into this game because now it hangs this d pawn here. So we do see knight takes d4 from Rubius as the knight was attacked, and black is all of a sudden right back into this game. We have knight takes d4 now, and this is actually a huge blunder from Neeko because, this is just one of the drawbacks of playing f4 very early on. This knight was defending the h4 square, also playing this h3 move, because now there's queen h4. If you hadn't played f4, or if you hadn't played h3, this queen h4 move would not be available. Well, playing h3, the check is still available, but now you can at least block with the g-pawn. Though here, this queen h4 check is still available, and it basically forks the knight here. So h3 doesn't stop that, but f4, if you hadn't played f4, this queen h4 check would not be available. So here, Rubius did have the chance to go for queen to h4 check, and you would have to play a move like king to e2, and after queen takes d4, Now that black is just threatening way too many things. Queen to f2, for example, and also threatening to take this knight. I guess that's only two things, but they're both very dangerous threats. So if you try to save both of them with knight to e4, now black has this crazy tactic, knight to c3 check, forking the king and the queen. And even though this square is defended twice by white, white can't take with either piece, because if you take with the knight, then there's checkmate on f2. And if you take with the bishop, then there's checkmate on e3. So here white has to move the king, and after moving the king, the queen will be lost. So here Rubius could have won very quickly and very easily, but he doesn't play this queen h4 move. Instead, he plays bishop takes d4, which is okay as well, because it does, you still have some queen h4 ideas available, and it is hard to defend everything here. The knight is hanging, and you have to defend against queen h4. So it's still fine. Rubius can still maybe get queen h4 on the next move. But here we have rook to c1 from Neeko, so defending neither threat. And queen h4 is actually a checkmate in 3 here now. So we would have queen h4, and you can delay the checkmate by one move by playing g3. But after queen takes g3, king to e2, and queen to f2, that is bing, bang, and boom. That's checkmate. So queen to h4 would have been a mate in 3 here for Rubius, but instead he goes for this free knight with bishop takes c3, which is still totally winning, but I mean, it's just not checkmate. So we have bishop takes c3, and now knight takes c3 hitting the queen, queen to d2, and knight takes b5, now picking up this pawn. So Rubius is up, what is it? He's up a knight, and this king will have a lot of trouble finding safety. So we'll see if Rubius can convert this position or if he blunders it back to Neeko. We have g4 from Neeko and f6 from Rubius. d4 now from Neeko, and this is very sneaky, discovered attack on the knight. However, it also just hangs this pawn on d4, which Rubius happily takes with the right piece. He takes with the knight. We have bishop g2 now, making it harder for this bishop to develop potentially, and f takes e5. This now allows Rubius to take this pawn in the center. We have rook to f1, and here as Rubius, you can definitely trade this rook as you are up a knight. But he simply plays bishop to e6, just getting that last piece into the game, which is totally fine too. And here Neeko actually trades rook takes f8, which is definitely, I mean, it's really tricky here because your king is just so exposed. Your king has no safety. You've pushed these pawns, and this pawn structure on the queen side is ruined, and your king is still in the center. So on one hand, you kind of do want trades, but on the other hand, if you trade everything, the endgame will just be totally losing. So it's very tricky here as Neeko. It's tricky to play a losing position. We have queen takes f8, and now c3, kicking away that knight. Knight to b5 now, and bishop d5, going after this bishop. Here, Neeko's trick is actually if black takes with bishop takes d5, now there's queen takes d5, forking the king and the knight, and white could get back into this game. It will still be very winning for black, as black will be up 2 pawns, and white's king is just way too exposed, but you know, it could be a way to get back into the game. But Rubius does not take this bishop. He instead plays queen to d6, which is fine, and we have c4. And here, you should definitely go for this trade here as Rubius with bishop takes d5. However, instead we see c6 now counterattacking this bishop, and this simply hangs a piece because first white can take this bishop, bishop takes e6, saving their bishop, and this is now check. So after queen takes e6, there will be c takes b5, and I mean, after c takes b5, you know, black is still up 3 pawns here actually, and has the safer king, so still totally winning for black, but you know, regaining that piece is the first step to winning this game as white, or drawing. But instead of this, well, Neeko does actually start with bishop takes e6 check, but instead of queen takes e6, Rubius plays king to f8, which is fine for black if white goes for the queen trade now, and black is still doing better here as they are up 2 pawns. But after queen to f2 check, this is going to be terrible as the king is getting way too exposed now. The black king is getting way too exposed, and white will be on the attack. So we do have this in the game, and after king to e7 and queen f7 check, king to d8, Here you actually have to play c takes b5. You can't play rook d1 immediately trying to pin the king and the queen because there's knight d4 interposing and blocking that pin. So first you have to play c takes b5 and then just continue your attack from there. You're threatening rook d1, you're threatening queen g8, so white is totally winning here. But Neeko instead goes for queen g8 check, which is a very attractive skewer on the king and the rook. However, after king to c8 or king to c7, you can't actually take this. You can't actually take this rook. Here you would have to play queen takes g7, and the reason is after queen takes a8, black actually has this move queen to d3, and it's going to be very hard to stop this perpetual check. So you actually, this is already drawn for white. White can't do anything. If you try a move like queen c8 check, there's simply king b6. Even if you take this knight and you're up a rook, there's simply queen e3 check, king to f1, queen to f3 check, and there's no escaping these checks. It will eventually be a draw by threefold repetition, no matter where the white king goes. So Rubius could have saved the drawn and gone into a second tiebreaker game with this queen to d3 move. However, we instead have queen takes e6, Rubius picking up that bishop, but after c takes b5, white is still up a rook, and now this is totally winning for white. Here, Rubius could have gone for another swindle with queen to b3, and this has the same idea. If white tries a move like rook d1, going for queen to d8, now there's this perpetual check once again, and it will be a draw for black. But instead, we have b6, and this just loses instantly to rook takes c6. It'd be a fork on the king and the queen. Neeko instead goes for queen takes c6, which still forces the trade, and you're going to be up a rook, so it's completely fine. We have queen takes c6 and b takes c6, and you'll also notice that Rubius only has 7 seconds left, so it will be very hard for Rubius to win this at this point. We have e4 and h4, e3 and g5, b5 and h5, a5, and the last move, g6, before Rubius here ran out of time. So he flagged, he lost on time, and but he was losing on the board anyway. So yes, very, very interesting and chaotic tiebreaker game between these two. But Neeko prevails and wins the tiebreaker match, so she will be going on to the semifinals of the Consolation bracket. Here are those standings for you. This was the first quarterfinals match, so Neeko will play the winner of Tubbo and Code Miko in the semifinals. And yeah, pretty good chess from both of these players. Definitely still room for improvement for both of them. But yeah, I hope Rubius continues playing chess, as he is a nice player, and he's also got a very nice personality too. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about this game or this match. Congratulations to Neeko, and maybe we'll see Rubius in a future PogChamps. But yeah, thank you for watching. Check out my PogChamps 3 playlist up there, and check out another chess video over there. Stay awesome, stay subscribed, like and subscribe. I love you guys. See you next time.